seconds. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ellis County Commission meeting. All please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call roll?
Commissioner Neil Younger.
Present.
Chair Nathan Liker.
Here.
Commissioner Michael Burgess.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Are there any changes to the order of business?
No.
Okay, moving on. Prior minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read through all the minutes we've had and special meeting minutes?
Yeah.
Good?
Good. Again, yep. That's good. The
Okay.
clerk did an excellent job.
We had one little correction, but we got it taken care of. So, okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Has everybody had a chance to read through all this?
Yep. Yep. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through G.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, consent agenda is approved. Are there any issues from people not on the order of business that wish to speak at this time? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on. Next, we have introduction of new employees. Jennifer?
Good morning, Jennifer Taylor, Ellis County HR. And over the last month, we have added quite a few new employees. And so I will have the department heads or elected officials introduce the new employees through the month of April.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eugene Rope, Ellis County Appraiser. Wanted to introduce Travis West. He is starting in our department as an Appraiser 1.
Well, welcome aboard.
Yep. Welcome.
Thank you.
Morning, Vern Reuter, Ellis County Treasurer.
Morning.
I have two motor vehicle clerks starting. One started yesterday, one started a couple weeks ago. I have Erica Harrison and Sabrina Butler, who actually came from the Russell County Treasurer's office, so have a little knowledge there.
Oh,
Started on a good week yesterday with taxes. So.
Welcome aboard.
Well, welcome.
Brendan McKay, Public Works Director. So with me here is Keaton Keller. With him, we're full staff now at both divisions of Public Works. And a sibling of his works for our noxious weed department, so
Okay,
happy to have him.
good deal.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have fire extinguisher service. Mr. John Moravec.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
For all those of you that know me, hi. For those of you that don't, I'm John Moravec. I own professional fire equipment here in Hayes and have since March of 1985, so next year will be 40 years. In all honesty, I'm here just to ask for your fire extinguisher business back. As an owner, when I try to get people to come out and do work for me, I want them to be responsible, respectable, prompt, do a good job, for people to really like them. And you know, obviously want to keep our business just due to the fact that we send them good quality people. Well, in the last year, I lost one of my people, and she decided to start her own business. I have her on a retaining order, but her business is out of Russell County. And I kind of felt like I wasn't even asked if we'd put it up for a bid or anything. I noticed the ones in this building are already done by the outfit out of Russell now. And since I have her on a contract not to compete, she has a fellow that she's in business with, and he did the fire extinguishers. So it's not even the person that did the fire extinguishers all this time. So that's what I'm here to, to ask is, what can we do to potentially, hopefully, get the work back? I mean, we did them for nearly 20 years, and then suddenly, boom, one leaves us and
Okay.
not even asked, yeah.
Okay. Comments, gentlemen?
I have none.
How do we contract fire? Does each department do it? Do we do it countywide? I'm not sure how we come to.
Essentially have three, sorry, Darren Myers, County Administrator. Essentially have three groups, I guess, throughout the county. One is, the first one, Public Works, just because they have dozens of pieces of equipment that has extinguishers in each piece of equipment. And then Buildings and Grounds does all the facilities and kind of takes care of everything up the Law Enforcement Center with the Sheriff's Office because they have extinguishers in their vehicles. And then the third group would be the Fire Department, just because nature of the business of the fire department, we have fire extinguishers. And then, so with that, because there's three different agencies that do it, and there's reasons because of that, obviously Greg doesn't know where all the extinguishers are in each piece of equipment or each sheriff's vehicle, each fire truck. We separate them all out. And like John said, it's been that way Olivia did that for
Years.
and everybody had a system. So that's kind of the way it.
Right, we would have a learning curve, obviously, with somebody new doing it, but the goal at the end is to still get them all and do them all right and take care of everything in as prompt and professional a manner as can be.
Okay. Well, I know we leave it up to department heads, so, but we'll have the departments look at it, I guess, in the future before contracting, is what we can suggest, to at least look at it and address it at that time.
Yeah.
So the policy is to try and keep tax dollars local as much as possible, but also on the same token, do it as responsible as possible for our taxpayers. So I guess all we can do is suggest to the departments to look at that option now that we have two competing options, to look at those closely at the time we need services.
I think Public Works has done this year already. The fire department, we haven't done ours yet, and I'm not sure if Greg's got all of them done
Okay.
throughout all the buildings yet, but I can check with them and visit with John and see where we're at on what bids we got from, I don't remember the name of the company, American
Fire, yeah.
American Fire.
Okay.
Are these annual inspections or?
They each get serviced or inspected once a year, and then every 5 years they get sent in and they have to be tested at a facility.
Yeah, there's a 6-year maintenance and then a 12-year hydrostat test on fire extinguishers. As far as SCBA's, what the firefighters wear on their back, those are done every 5 years. And, of course, obviously, we take care of that also.
Okay.
Do we also have a monthly on those or not? Okay. Somebody goes and,
Greg goes around and inspects them every month, and he's got a checklist. Him and they go exit lights and different things like that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your comments this morning, and we'll have people look into it as the time allows. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Public Works fuel pump purchase. Brendan?
Brendan McKay, Public Works Director, Ellis County. So before you use proposal for our new fuel system, we were able to PO money or funds last year for the dispensers. So that's what the nozzle's physically connected to, and the controller, which is where you would put push pin or card swipe system to be able to track equipment fuel usage and be able to dispense fuel. So in order to make those things work, we need pumps, sumps, and piping. And then what was recommended to us from the installer was to install what they call day tanks. It'd be like a 55-gallon barrel that's gravity fed from the main tank that your pump would be in that would send fuel to your dispenser. That way, any service truck can service it with the height of our tanks that we have. The local servicer only has one truck that would be available to service those if we had an issue. So the thought was to spend a little bit extra on that now and future-proof our system. We're moving everything that we can possibly from our current site that can be reused. The dispensers and the pumps that we have at our current site and controller are outdated. Only parts we have are if they find a used unit somewhere and they can rob a good part off it. So our screen routinely does not work, so people have to remember what buttons they need to hit. So that was the point of changing to a new system, was ours is a legacy that's no longer supported.
Okay. And this was something that was already predetermined before the moving?
Correct. We knew we would have to have something up there like this. And we purchased as much as we could ahead of time. And then there's also a slight increase because we went with double wall piping. By requirements, we don't need to have double wall piping, but just for protection of the safety of staff and the environment, we're recommending going with double wall piping from the tanks to the dispensers.
Okay.
Basically, a secondary catch, just like how on fuel tanks, small fuel tanks, you have double wall fuel tanks to prevent it from all leaking out or catch area. That's what those pipes will do.
Will this all be in a containment area where these pumps are located?
The pumps will be, yes. The piping has to go out of the containment and underground to the dispensers.
Gotcha.
That's why we're recommending going with double wall piping there.
So will the piping go through conduit, more or less?
Yes.
Okay.
They'll go through conduit, go under the ground, and then with our own operating budget, we will pay to pave concrete over the piping that goes to the dispensers.
Okay. Any other comments?
Just a question, the report for, like, when each truck fills, does that come to you then, Brandon?
Yes, we have that
Okay.
at the office. We can
Okay.
monitor that and we track that. Because right now, we currently only have 2 fuel tanks. One of the items that was purchased last year was a smaller tank that will hold gasoline, and then our 10,000-gallon tanks can hold dyed diesel and clear diesel. Currently, we only use clear diesel. So at the end of the year, we have to go back through and run reports and give them to the state to get the tax credit back for the non-highway use of that fuel. So adding the additional tank gives us that ability to no longer have to try and get those funds back before the end of the year. It's kind of a mess.
That makes sense. Brendan, will this new system, do we keep track of fuel usage per equipment?
It's however you want to look. You can look up by operator, you can look by equipment, you can track by fuel type used. So there's multiple ways that this system can do it. You can, just like our current system, you can search by piece of equipment, by time frame, or by operator, because sometimes operators are in different pieces of machinery. And then each equipment will have a key or a card that'll track it with it. So if something is no longer in service, we can deactivate that key, and then each employee has a PIN or a separate key that they will put in with a PIN, so we can track who's dispensing fuel into what. So we can track if there's something erroneous in there.
Okay, will this, but this system will not track that goes through the fuel trailer and delivers outside?
No, so the way that's done is we add that back into our system
Okay.
by what we take off on the fuel truck. It'll track the fuel going onto the fuel truck, and then we have paper documents that we use for the fuel truck for where it delivered fuel to.
Okay.
All the outline barrels that we have for the road patrolmen.
I don't really have any questions on this particular item, but it's kind of a dovetail of this item. So as we move from our current facility out to the new one, so things like this, the fuel island and noxious mixing tanks and chemicals and stuff in the ground, do we have any concerns like from EPA as we move from that and we look to sell it? Are there things that we may have to address as far as cleanup or EPA concerns as we try to sell it to a different owner?
Not that we're aware of at this point in time. All spills have been mitigated when they've happened
Okay,
as part of our compliance. So
okay,
when you do have a spill, depending upon the type of spill and the quantity and what it is, there's different ways you'd work to remediate it. A lot of time it is taking the contaminated soil out and doing what's called dry farming it or air farming it. You take it to a specific area and you lay it back out, and you basically let the hydrocarbons and everything break down in it, and you till it back over, work it over a period of years, and then it's clean as far as the
we do that
EPA 's
on location at our current location?
We haven't had that issue yet, to my knowledge, in the 3 years I've been there. A lot of it's hauled off to an area by the landfill.
Okay. Will we still haul, so at our new location, as those things happen, will we
If
do
they
that same
happen, yeah.
process if they
Yes.
happen? We'll haul it to the landfill. We're not putting in a special location at the new location to do that.
At this point in time, that'd be correct.
Okay. Thank
You
you.
just generally have to designate an area that you're not going to plant crops in for human consumption or anything. And you just lay the contaminated soil there and you farm it over and work it back and forth over a period of years, and the hydrocarbons break down and then returns back to being
Okay.
Kinda-
good ground.
Okay.
Kind of following up on Mr. Burgess' question, we're doing everything according to KDHE standards and EPA
Or above.
guidelines?
Yes.
Or above, okay. Very good.
Yeah, and to help Mr. Burgess out on that, the time when the train had wrecked down here on Vine, they done that. They hauled all the dirt off. It was actually on the north side on railroad property, a mile and a half east of Toulon. I watched it. They done that for 3 years till they finally it got approved. So if that helps, quite the process. But
Yeah. 'cause
everything out there should be above ground unless there's some underground.
The only underground is the piping that's
Yep.
going to go, it's going to, because you do not penetrate your secondary containment that the fuel tanks will sit in. So it comes up and over the wall of the secondary containment and then goes underground to the dispensers. That's why we were recommending going with double wall there, just for an extra protection. And then we will be pouring extra concrete, because for a driving lane is 12 feet. The dispensers are 17 feet away from the secondary containment. So instead of leaving a 4-foot gap where someone could drive a vehicle off of and potentially collapse a pipe, we're going to pay the extra cost to concrete all the way to the secondary containment. So that way there's no worry of us potentially crushing a pipe there. But that'd be the only underground portion of this, would be the pipes coming up and over secondary containment and under the driving lane for fueling to the dispensers.
Are pylons protecting all of our pumps and such?
That'd be correct.
Okay. And the piping by the secondary containment?
Yes.
Okay.
That was one thing, unless I missed it in, the description that Westhusian done. Say one of the card readers was hit. Hopefully there's a safety on there. I'm sure Westhusian's gonna put that on by the pump,
Correct.
by the.
That's what the valves and sensors would be for. So if there is a damage to a dispenser, because a card reader is just a card reader. It's
Right.
just a basic computer in a box with buttons on it that you use to swipe the vehicle and your operator ID, or a push pin. There's many different types. But if that gets hit, then you don't have the ability to dispense fuel that can be tracked. You can still potentially dispense fuel if your pumps are in good shape, but they'd have to go through at least one dispenser or a light pole and a dispenser before that box would be hit.
Okay.
Okay, I move to approve PO 7823 to Westhusian Incorporated and allow the Public Works Director to sign the proposed electronically.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next, we have our bridge overlay.
Yep. So back in March, Commission assigned the PO for PCI roads to approve contract for mill and overlay of 690 and 700 along Old 40 Highway. As part of that, you guys have signed the PO. We've already allocated the funds for it. This is just the signing of the construction document and all the bid bonds and surety bonds that we keep on record for this. So you've already approved it. It's just the next step in it.
We've already approved it multiple times, I think.
Yes, it's unfortunate with my projects. There's usually, you approve it
well
3 or
needed.
4 times.
It's well needed.
Right.
Okay, I move to approve and sign the construction contract with PCI Road LLC for the bridge deck rehabilitation of FAS 690 and FAS 700.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Brendan, while you're up there before you head out,
Yep.
quick update on South Ellis Avenue.
Yep. So last Friday, staff came in on overtime again, finished milling up the roadway, the last mile, and mixing in the rock. We don't have it open to public yet because they spent time Friday just to cap it off. That last mile that was milled up, it doesn't have proper compaction yet. We just want it capped, so in case there was the storms over this weekend that we did end up getting, it didn't soak the roadway and make it too soft. So right now, they are working that material back out of where it was capped off and are building it up step by step like we showed on the road tour. And the plan is to, as long as the weather keeps holding like it is, it'll be open later this week
Okay,
to public traffic.
very good. All the other soft spots that you had hit, are those a work in progress, or have those been worked out?
Most of those have been worked out. We over excavated the material there, put in another couple loads of rock in at the base to support the asphalt milling and rock mixture, and those have been healing up just fine.
Okay. Further discussion? Thank you, Brendan.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
the
you.
update. Next, we have opting out of school inspections. Ms. Kim?
Good morning, Kim Rill, Ellis County Health Department Director. This morning, I'm asking for your consideration in opting out of school inspections. Just a little bit of history. In 1989, a document was created by KDHE that kind of gave minimal guidance on what public health officers were supposed to do with school inspections. That document still remains in 1989 as of today. There has been no guidance given from KDHE. And then in the height of COVID, KDHE started asking us to start back doing school inspections and kind of get back into the swing of things. Historically speaking, I went back and looked through files and filing cabinets, and I don't see where any school inspections were done until I did one in 2022. I worked with 489 and some of the other schools to create a document, which I think I sent along, as to what we would focus on for our schools here in Ellis County. Because of the autonomy that KDHE allowed us to have, we decided to focus on the things that I could control, things that were within what I felt were my scope, if you will. However, on April 12th of this year, House Bill 2754 was passed by the governor, which allows us in public health to opt out of doing school inspections. A lot of us started asking questions as to why it was our responsibility in the first place to do school inspections when there's other people that are probably a little bit more trained to be going into schools to do these inspections, like HVAC, fire, food, boiler, things of that nature. So at this time, the governor has left it in your hands to determine if I need to continue doing school inspections, or if that's something that I can opt out of doing. I did finish up talking to the last superintendent of the schools yesterday. I reached out to every single superintendent and/or principal of schools, and we are now 100% on board from the schools for me to opt out of doing it, simply because of all the other inspections that they have to go through. Questions?
This is something that just kind of cropped up after following the COVID and maybe an overreaction?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions? Comments?
Comment, you would have to be an engineer to do all this stuff, and we're not paying you near enough to do this, so I'm ready for the opt-out, because it's,
Well, and like I said, the document that we created with all the schools on what they wanted me to focus on when I did it, I went out with Rusty at 489, and for me just to do the schools here in Hayes took me an entire day to do, going into every school. Ellis took me another half day, and the Victoria took me another half day to do. You can make it as complicated as you want to make it, or you can make it as simple as you can, which we just chose to do the things that I could control. Now, by all means, when I left and when I was done talking to the schools, I was like, by all means, if you have a problem that you want me to come out and look at, I would be more than happy to do that. So that door is also open to the schools and school here in Ellis County.
Very good. Well, I appreciate you bringing this up and
yes.
looking forward to it. So, I guess if there's no more discussion, I'll move to approve the opt-out of the annual school inspections.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Kim. Okay, next we have the server replacement.
Good morning, Mike Liker, Ellis County IT Director. I'm here today to get approval to purchase replacement equipment for our primary server and storage solution. It is beyond 5 years old now. We try to keep those on a replacement cycle, and we have quotes from two sources, from Dell Direct and from Abtech Solutions. What these servers are is it's one physical server that is, it's our virtual server. I don't know if you're familiar with what the virtual environment's like, but it's one physical device that we can spin up almost unlimited operating systems within that, or servers, virtual servers. And so this runs all of our, pretty much all of our systems that we have in place, our financial and tax accounting, our payroll, some of the local HR functions. Most of the HR is in the cloud, but and then also the storage array that goes with it. It's basically a separate set of rack-mounted equipment that has all the hard drives in it, and we store all the data there. Those two pieces of equipment work in conjunction to maintain pretty much everything that we have at Ellis County for our administrative services and pretty much everything. So I just need approval to purchase from Abtech Technologies. They were the low bid on that, which includes installation assistance, or so the total on that was $107,494.15. And I would take any questions.
Okay, questions?
Sounds very important, and it is.
Yeah.
We see that on the news in Wichita, so yeah, gotta have.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to know anything about this to be able to ask any questions.
Mike, question for you on the replacement. What happens with the server that we replace? Is that stored? How is it scrubbed?
That's a good question. What we do, generally, we have an off-site backup and disaster recovery site that runs identical equipment, and in the event that our primary goes offline for some reason, we can shift over to the backup solution. What we'll do with this equipment, since it's identical equipment, only it's a year newer, we'll take this equipment, put it on a shelf because it's configured, and we'll keep that as a hot spare. If any of the equipment at the backup site goes south for any reason, we can take that, drop it in, do any updates that need to be done, and get back up and running. Because it's a backup solution, if it goes offline, we still have the primary. The only time we'd be in trouble is if they both went offline. Hopefully that never happens. That would be catastrophic.
Okay, I guess, so kind of following up, when we have equipment such as servers and storage age out and get totally replaced and pulled offline, how are those disposed of? Are they, I'm sorry, let me rephrase the question. Are those properly disposed of, protecting all of our sensitive information?
It takes quite a while before before a piece of equipment actually leaves our facilities, because we recycle and reuse so much of it. We'll pull hard drives, we'll pull memory sticks out of there. If we don't reuse the hard drives, we destroy them. We partner with the City of Hayes. We have a drive crusher that is a pretty nifty little tool that just basically shatters them. So we destroy any hard drives. If we want to reuse them, we wipe them to mil specs and put them back into production. We don't do that quite as often because usually they're close to end of life anyway, especially if they're spinning disks. If they're solid state hard drives, we definitely would wipe to mil specs and reuse those. But once a piece of equipment is ready to be disposed of, we remove all of the memory devices from it, the hard drive and the RAM, and anything else we might be able to salvage. And we take the rest of the hardware, which basically is skeleton, to the e-waste trailer out at the landfill, and then that's all taken off and recycled. So.
Okay, Very good.
So is there much maintenance over these 5 years on this?
No.
Good.
They I hate to say too much, I'm kind of superstitious and jinx myself, but they pretty much run. The fact that what's nice is the virtual servers, there's no real hardware involved with all of these 20, 30 plus virtual servers that are running within there. It all relies on that one piece of hardware, and it doesn't tax it a whole lot. And there aren't any spinning drives in the host server. That's usually one of the first things that goes out, either hard drive or power supply. We have redundant power supplies in case any of that goes out. So yeah, it's pretty low maintenance. It just works, so.
Okay. All right, well, with that, I'll move to approve the PO number 7824 in the amount of $107,494.15 to Abtech Technologies for the upgrade of the county primary physical server and SAN storage appliance.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
carries. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Next, we have Public Works Cold Storage Building Footings, change order.
Good morning again, Darren Myers, County Administrator. Last item on your agenda is to consider a change order for the Public Works facility up north. Brendan helped me pull up a map here, which I'll bring up, kind of explain why this has come about. The original plans, when we had the conceptual drawings drawn up before the finals were put together and everything, we had GSI come out to do some geotech work. And as you can see, I guess you can't see my mouse, but you can see the main building here. Maybe I can highlight it. That was actually shifted from that location as well, but the cold storage building used to be clear back in the far northwest corner of the facility, and now it is since even the fuel island has changed, but everything is now in this location here. So when the geotech services were done, they were drilled for the conceptual drawings of where the building was going to be at, which had different samples, core samples of what the ground underneath was going to entail. And what the ground underneath the building is determines what type of footings, how big, how round, how deep, etc., and the type. Since we moved that facility, we didn't have the locations re-drilled to see what type of soil or rock was underneath. We all knew there was rock, but how much, how deep, and how bad was not determined. When the construction company was out there a couple weeks ago, they started drilling the holes, and they had significant hard time trying to get through the rock and everything for the cold storage building. And they kind of pulled back a little bit, went to their engineers, and came up with this proposal that's back in your agenda here today. But it basically changes the diameter of the footings for all the posts for the pole barn, and then some of the footings as well around the perimeter of the building, which basically ties everything in. Basically, the way it was explained to me is when you drill through rock like that, it basically just creates a sleeve and not necessarily a concrete good stabilization for a footing. So they increased the size and then the types of a little bit, just to make it a little bit more stronger for the building itself. So with that, the change order of $17,250 is attached to your agenda for consideration, so that way they can continue moving forward with the project. I'll take any questions.
So they're still going to drill a spherical hole going down. They're just going to increase the size.
Correct. I think is 6 or 8 inches bigger for each of there's
Right.
probably, I would imagine, 30, 40 holes throughout that building.
Gotcha.
I don't have any questions on it.
Okay.
Let's get done.
I guess the only thing I have is it's like building a business, building whatever. If you build a good foundation, it's going to stay. So, my comment.
So I guess at what point, I mean, I know you said where it was and it had gotten moved.
Back up.
Go ahead and pull that back up. I guess at what point throughout the process did we make the decision to do that?
Well, they all left already with all the
Yeah.
new employees. I did ask Brendan, and I'm sorry, I forgot to say that since you asked last night. The cold storage building was moved from that far northwest, top left corner, that to the bottom, because of the amount of material that was going to take from excavating and moving and doing the dirt. So when they started doing all of the site survey and determine how much land was going to have to be moved from here up to there, by moving that cold storage building from where it was down, it decreased the amount of dirt that had to be excavated and hauled out and moved around, leveled out by half. So when they started looking at the dirt work is why it was determined to save a lot of time, equipment and everything, and money. It was to move it to that new location.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
I don't know what the motion is. It looks like it's just I move to approve the change order for
Okay.
the cold storage.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
I apologize. I didn't realize I didn't put the motion language on there.
There's no PO on that, so. Okay. Well, yes. Back up. County Administrator report.
Not a whole lot this morning. Started reaching out to the outside agencies in regards to the June 11th meeting that we'll have for the outside agencies to come in and present their budget request for you for the 2025 budget. And we got the meeting set up with the Aging Council to review those 5 or 6 different agencies that go through the Aging Council for funding requests as well. So the next steps of the budget process are in line, and I've gotten, I think, 2 or 3 individual department budgets back already, maybe 4. So I'm getting that put together and moving along. And the other thing was on the 4th of May was International Firefighters Day, so got a little bit of a biased feeling against firefighters, so I want to make an announcement to appreciate all the work that they do for the county. And we're starting 4 new ones tomorrow night. So,
Well, good. Does that get your number?
close.
Okay. Well, thank you to all the firefighters that are out there, so, and working for the county. And you're not biased against them, you're biased for them.
Yep.
So, okay. Dovetailing off your talks with outside agencies, do we need to have the discussion upcoming in the future about possibly using the United Way and that formula?
I think so. In regards to what Erica Burgess had presented to us a couple weeks ago, is the process that we'd have to use for 2025 would stay the same for this budget cycle, just because they've already met. So I think later in the year is when they start putting everything together, and I included that in the letters that I sent out to the outside agencies, just to let them know that that process will be changing and that we would recontact them once we know more of those dates and the information and the process, because it won't impact all of them. And I actually wrote that down before the meeting, is to have a discussion here probably in June in regards to, of those 22, 23 agencies, which ones do you want to go through the Care Council? And then which ones do you want to stay, like DSNWK, the High Plains Mental Health, Grow Hayes, Historical Society. Some of those could go through the Care Council, but I think that determination would be best to have at a meeting, so that way you can determine which ones you want to go where, and so that way they know that their process well in advance as well.
Very well. Thank you. That's what I was alluding to, is if we kind of contact them and let them know that it could be changing.
But not to put you on the spot, because I had an agency contact me from the letter, but the Care Council has not had their board meeting to
Officially approve it yet?
officially approve, except, taking on the county just yet.
Okay.
So,
It could change.
could change, just, I don't see them pushing back on it yet, but they have not actually met to discuss it and formally approved that they would do it, so. Because I did have an outside agency it's going to change next year. It's like, maybe, so.
Okay.
I'll still have more contact with each one of them before the June meeting, and I'll make sure that,
Clarify.
make that correction, that it's not necessarily fully approved yet, but that's just kind of the direction that's being considered.
Okay. Very good. Okay, commission reports. Mr. Burgess?
I got quite a bit, actually, in the last few weeks since we've been gone. I want to thank Gary Haas with the weed department. I took he gave me an hour tour of his department, and I really appreciate his time and getting me more in depth on what they do at the weed department. And you would think the weed department's kind of a messy place, but man, Gary keeps that. Every vehicle, I think he must wash it twice a day. So he does a great job with his department there. I want to thank Justin Craig. I had to reach out to him and through Darren for some information on the sewer lateral program that the county has, but I was working with somebody actually in Saline County trying to see, and Justin got some information for me. I appreciate his time looking that up and getting me some information on it. And then I don't know who specifically to add. Public Works or Road Department, I was out. On Fridays, I typically drive around the county just to see roads, and I saw a sign out there that was missing a bolt. It's kind of a small thing, but I let Darren know, and I think the next day or by Monday they had gone out and put a bolt in that sign so it stopped flapping around. So it's a small thing, but again, I do appreciate it. I do notice it, the work that they put in for us. Went to the City of Hayes Commission meeting, and went to Ellis City Commission last evening. As far as county, they did discuss the library one more time. They are not going to opt into being part of the taxing district for the voters of the county for library district. So that's probably good news for Bobby as far as getting things prepared. So they would have, I guess they have one more day to do that. But last night at their meeting, well, no motion was made. They didn't need to make a motion because they decided not to be a part of that. Went to Recovery Court, and I want to congratulate Brittany Straken for her successful graduation through the Recovery Court process. It is a really good process to help individuals in our community. And while we're there, we kind of saw different steps. We saw one graduation. We saw somebody kind of on step one and somebody about step three. And I think it really, you can see the progress just in those three different people and where they are. And then, so I look forward to the individual that was on step one, maybe a little bit belligerent about it, making it through to step five and seeing what we saw in step five in a graduation of somebody really taking responsibility for their lives. And then yesterday I invited Hayes Housing Authority and the Ellis Housing Authority directors, so Cal with Hayes and then Juanita with Ellis, to lunch. And I just wanted to get a better understanding of of low-income housing and the Section 8 housing and how that process works, how somebody applies or accepts or what that is for Ellis County. So I really appreciate their time, just giving me good information on. It's a very, very complicated. There's over 50 federal programs for low-income housing. So the hour that I spent with them, we barely touched the surface on what it is, but it really gives me some good insight on housing for Ellis County, regardless of high income all the way to low income is a desperate need for Ellis County. So again, I appreciate their time informing me about what the process is on that end of the scale. So
Okay.
that's my report.
Very good. Mr. Younger?
Okay, I also have quite a bit, as we all went on the road tour, spoke with some community people that, our roads are in not the best shape, but drive around into the other counties is a lot of the response that I get. Did go to the fire station, Melanie's Kitchen. Also, I was at the drug court, recovery court. Like Mr. Burgess said, there's a lot of good things happen in there. You see a lot of success. You see a lot of people storm out and be saying words that they shouldn't be saying to about the judge, and Judge Brown does really recognize us, you guys, for helping, funding all that, which is a good thing. So then I did go to the SACAD, the Scholarly Creative Activity Days at the college. Was pretty interesting. A lot of talent we have in the community here. Then I also did go to the city meeting, and I did sneak in about a 2-hour deal before I went to the college. The Northwest Kansas Area Aging, since we're all going to be there, was very interesting. They had some good speakers. The other thing, last night, went to the Hayes High academic scholarships and presented those to the kids, and there was, I had talked with Darren about it, if these kids were notified, because there was one individual there that it was like a Christmas present. He was just smiles when they called his name. He come through the center aisle. It was a pretty fast pace last night. There was a lot of stuff went over. The other thing I hear from a lot of our employees, that all of us commissioners, and to me it's very important that, and our employees are noticing it, that we're coming to those people and talking to them about their jobs. So getting a lot of good feedback on that, on a one-on-one. And then the other thing, Wade Park, he's got birthday today, so happy birthday to him. And May is M for mental health, so everybody take care of themselves. Don't let anything bother you. If you do, there's places out there that will help. So that's all I have, and like I say, everybody take care of themselves and their loved ones.
Okay. I guess on my list, I got, it's been busy since our last meeting. So we did have the Ellis special meeting with the city of Ellis and the library board, which I think the meeting overall went well. So hopefully we're still going to have the vote, and we'll see how that all turns out in August for the rest of the taxing district, that is. So we went on the road tour and seen a lot of different, I think it was different this year. We all have different ideas on directions, but I thought we had some very good conversation on the approach that we can take here in the future, and different partnerships that we're looking at going forward with that. I did discuss a day or so later with Brendan. I had phone calls from a couple of residents after some hard rains about some spots on areas that we actually had just toured, where they had done some improvements, and local residents have noticed and they've taken note to the improvements that we've done to these roads and these areas, and they were concerned that some of the work that had just been done had been damaged by the recent rains. So Brendan sent a crew up there immediately and had them taking care of it, because the residents notice we're working on it. I did present the scholarships at TMP on behalf of the commission, and those were very well received. So it was nice to be part of that whole presentation. There's a lot of different scholarships, and they kind of stuck out that it's just a little bit different direction. And then we all as a commission attended Dodge City to the Western Kansas Delegates meeting and had some very good conversations. I think we opened up a few doors going forward with some conversations that we did have. So I'll be excited to see how that kind of comes to fruition in the coming months. And then I have been reached out to by multiple employees throughout different departments, thanking the commission for some of the wage study and adjustments that had been done since implementation. So there's not a lot. I mean, it's not everybody that's knocking at our door, but the employees that have reached out are extremely grateful for what we've done. So kind of a pat on the back to getting that implemented. So with that, I have nothing else. Is there any further comment before we close out our meeting? Okay. With that, we will adjourn at 9:20.